it time to abolish them in England, as I did in Scotland some 10 years ago? Well, give me one statistic, and one statistic only, which tells you why it's the right policy. In Scotland right now, 55% of our young people go to higher education. That is in university or college. In England, the figure is 48%. And that missing 7% tells you why punitive tuition fees are the wrong policy for England. Now, Jeremy Corbyn says he's going to abolish them. I think Jeremy Corbyn has got it right. I think the money has to be found, and the money should be found out of general taxation. The society will be better if more people are educated, working productively, and paying for our essential services through general taxation. Is it the only issue affecting higher education or universities? No, it's not. There's also the issue of the social mix of people who go to university. I caused a bit of a storm in my own alma mater of St Andrews, where I studied as a student a wee while ago, and they rather objected to me pointing out how they'd failed the students from poor backgrounds in Scotland, Scotland's oldest university, a deplorable number of students from underprivileged backgrounds. The university accused me of blethering, they said in response. And I have the figures which shows that St Andrews University, Scotland's oldest university, has only 5.1% of its students come from the lowest 20% of deprived backgrounds. The target figure for Scotland from the Scottish Government is 20%. I think St Andrews should look shame on itself, just as the Oxbridge colleges should do when it was found that they had effectively excluded not just students from deprived backgrounds but from ethnic minority backgrounds. Now they say in St Andrews, oh, we're doing our best, we're trying this, we're trying that, we're trying the next thing. No, it's not acceptable. And before you accuse somebody of blethering St Andrews University, then you should look at the plank of wood in your own eye before the specks of sawdust elsewhere. Other universities have managed it. Glasgow, one of the top universities, manages it. Other universities, for example, the University of the West of Scotland has 27% of its students come from the most deprived backgrounds. I think University of the West of Scotland is doing an admirable job, and I think Scotland's oldest university, my old alma mater, which I love dearly, should think shame on itself for having only 5% of its students from underprivileged backgrounds. Or perhaps they have the idea that people from underprivileged backgrounds aren't bright enough to adorn the hallowed halls of St Andrews University. I say they are, and I say society would benefit, and it would benefit greatly if that was accompanied, as we've done in Scotland, by removing tuition fees, which allows 55% of people in Scotland to go to higher education and to benefit society. High time you caught up with us in England. Jeremy Corbyn says he's going to implement the policy the SNP implemented 10 years ago in Scotland. He's going to abolish tuition fees.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.